All right, y'all, we only have a few days left until Christmas, and today I'm bringing you the perfect last-minute Christmas treats. All of these are the most simple recipes ever. We're barely gonna heat up the oven. I'm willing to bet you have most of the ingredients on hand already, and please stay until the end because our last one, I have a little twist on a classic recipe that I think is gonna send it over the top and you are gonna want to try. Let's get into these easy Christmas treats. First up today, we have a classic Haystacks, and these remind me of my childhood. My grandpa, who I've talked about so many times, used to always make these around the holidays, and truly they could not get any easier. I just have a large microwave safe bowl here, and I'm gonna dump 1 bag of butterscotch morsels into this bowl, and I'm just gonna heat this up in 30-second increments until my butterscotch is nice and melted. Then next, I'm gonna take about 1 cup of peanut butter. I'm gonna add that into the butterscotch. It's just gonna kind of melt on its own. You really don't have to heat it up again at this point, but you do wanna just kind of stir it to help it melt and incorporate into this butterscotch. Next, we're going to add in about 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. You don't even have to add this in if you don't want to, but I love just that added subtle flavor of vanilla that it gives. Also, I'm adding just a tiny pinch of salt, and then we're going to add in 1 whole bag of the Chow noodles. You can find these in your Oriental department in your grocery store. They come in a bag or sometimes a can, which I'm sure most of y'all have already made Haystacks. And if you haven't, trust me, you need to try these. So of course, we're just gonna stir everything now and get all of our little crunchy noodles incorporated. And then next, I just have my baking sheet here lined with some parchment paper, and I just think it's easiest to use 2 spoons and just kind of scoop some of our little noodle butterscotch mixture out and kind of shape it with my spoons a little bit, get it the size and shape that I want, kind of make it a little bit round. And then I also have my sprinkles handy because you want to sprinkle them if you choose to while they're still kind of warm and wet to make sure that all those sprinkles stick to the top. And of course we need sprinkles. We're making Christmas treats after all, and just look how cute these turn out. You just want to let them sit an hour or 2. I just let mine sit out on the counter to where they harden up, and then you can put them over in your containers. But these are the perfect mixture of sweet and salty, crunchy and creamy, all of the things combined. Next up, we have a new to me recipe, and it is these cream peppermints. These things are perfect for the holidays, so good, and look how easy to make. So to a large bowl, you just want to start with 1 tablespoon of butter and about 2 or 3 tablespoons of cream cheese. Of course, all the recipes will be linked down below, but I'm just going to blend those together. I forgot to say I popped that in the microwave just to soften them a little bit, and then I'm just taking my hand mixer and just mixing those all together. Next, to add our peppermint flavor, we're just going to add about 3 or 4 drops of peppermint extract. Again, just blend that together. And then over on the side, I already had 3 cups of powdered sugar measured out, so I just mixed it in. I kind of did half at a time, and going back, I should have used a bigger bowl. And also, I wanted to tell y'all, if you want to color your mints, I would suggest going ahead and separating them out now into separate bowls, depending on how many different colors you want to do. I end up doing red and green, so I would actually add in my food coloring at this point instead of trying to mix it after I have my dough formed, if that makes sense. So anyway, once it's kind of this crumbly texture and you can see it kind of coming together, you just want to form it into basically a big dough ball, and the consistency is really similar to that of Play-Doh. This is kind of where I realized it would be easier to color it while I was mixing it together, but that's okay. I'm just kind of cutting my dough in half, and like I said, I'm going to do some red and some green. So I just separated it into bowls. I did put my gloves on for this because that gel food coloring will stain your hands, and then I just worked it around, again, kind of like Play-Doh. However, this was kind of a happy little accident that I discovered. If you wanted kind of that marble effect, you could totally do it this way and just not mix it in quite all together as I was showing you right there. I also think that would make a really pretty peppermint. Once you get your dough colored the color that you want it, you just want to roll it out into little balls. They're not quite 1 inch, and it took me a couple tries to get the size I wanted and kind of a little system going on how to mash these down with a fork. So that's what you do. You just roll them out into little balls, and then you just put the design on there with the fork. But I finally figured out it's easiest if you roll it into a ball and then kind of push it on your parchment paper with your fingers first and then the fork. That way it doesn't stick to the fork quite as much, and you can just move a little quicker. That's all it really does, but it does make it go along faster to get all of your dough rolled out. And then this is pretty much done. All these are gonna do is set up for an hour or two. I keep mine in the fridge just to keep them fresh, and I like them cold. These are soft, melt in your mouth, delicious. All right, y'all, lastly but definitely not least, we're gonna make this Christmas crack. I have to say this is probably my family's favorite, and we have a little twist on this one that I saw on TikTok, and y'all are gonna love it. So first, in a saucepan, we're gonna melt down 2 sticks of butter and 1 cup of packed brown sugar. And this will just take 5 or 10 minutes. You want to whisk really well. At first, that butter takes it a minute to combine, but once the brown sugar melts down, you're gonna be left with this silky smooth caramel sauce. So after that is melting over on my baking sheet that I have lined with parchment paper, we're actually going to use pretzel crisp instead of saltine crackers for this Christmas crack. And I'm telling you, the flavor of the pretzel is, to me, so much more deep and just better than a saltine cracker. And who doesn't love a chocolate covered pretzel anyway? So y'all have to try this. So anyway, you just want to line your baking sheet like I said. You want to keep all your little pretzel thins or pretzel crisp in one layer. You can use broken ones, it doesn't matter, because you're just going to break the whole thing up at the end anyway. This reminds me of when Darren and I first got together, one of our first Christmases together. I made the Christmas crack with the saltine crackers because it was just something cheap and easy to make, and it was so good. So anytime I make this, it just reminds me about all those years ago when I first found this recipe. But anyway, once you got all of your pretzel thins on your baking sheet, we're just gonna bring over that caramel and drizzle that all over top. I take my spatula and kind of smooth it over a little bit, but we are gonna pop this into the oven at 325 for about 8 minutes, so that caramel will spread a little bit more as it bakes in the oven. As soon as it comes out, you're gonna see that caramel is all nice and bubbly, and we're just gonna sprinkle on 1 bag of milk chocolate chips. And actually you can use any kind of chocolate for this. You could even do white chocolate. That is so good and so festive. Just depends on your flavor preference and what color you want them really. This is going back into the oven just for about 3 to 5 minutes to kind of get those little chips to be melted. And then you can just take your spatula again and just kind of press them down, and they kind of melt all evenly all over your pretzels, and you just want to spread them real evenly to keep that layer, that one layer, intact. And then next, you can top these with lots of different things. The options are endless, but we actually sprinkled on some marshmallows this time. And I have to say that combination of the crunchy with a little bit of chewy in there and that sweet and salty together is just so good. Can you tell I like all the different combinations in my little Christmas treats? So anyway, that's what we did. Added a few marshmallows, and then of course, like I said, we gotta have Christmas sprinkles. So I went in, added those, and again, this is just gonna set up for a few hours. It works a lot quicker if you pop it in the fridge, even overnight, if you can stand it. My family, actually, I had to tell them get out of the kitchen a couple times because there was gonna be none of this Christmas crack left for me to even show you guys. It is that good. So anyway, just let it sit up a couple hours, and then you're just gonna take the whole thing, break it into pieces, and then you have your Christmas crack. Y'all let me know if you've ever tried Christmas crack and what sort of base do you use. If you've never tried pretzels, you're gonna want to try this one. And this is also the perfect thing to add to, say, a gift card or just something small like that you're giving for a gift. And speaking of Christmas, if you have not seen, I just posted a video of our top 10 Christmas breakfast. If you're still looking for a new Christmas breakfast idea for this year, please head over there to that video. There are tons of all different sorts of ideas. There is something that I know you're gonna love. But y'all, I'm just breaking up my Christmas crack, getting it over into my little containers, which by the way, I found at Dollar Tree this year. So cute. And I'm even using my little air fryer parchment paper liners. They fit perfectly in there. Works perfectly for our Christmas treats. But thank y'all so much for cooking with me today. I truly hope that you are having a wonderful holiday season with your family and friends this year. And as always, thank you for spending a little bit of time with me. Head over there and watch that breakfast video next. I'll see you guys over there, and I'll see y'all again real soon in my next video. Merry Christmas and bye y'all.